to be loaded on ships leaving from Cyprus. And we're in discussion with the key actors, Cyprus, the United Arab Emirates, the Israeli government, the Americans, to see how we can best insert ourselves in that supply.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We next go to MP Chattel. You have 3 minutes.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you, Chair. And thank you to our colleagues from Global Affairs Canada for coming today. We all understand that this is a war and that it is very difficult. There's no such thing as an easy war. However, there are rules during wars, and one of those rules under the Vienna Convention states that we must protect civilians under all circumstances, those who are innocent. Currently, you have described this as this inhumane situation. There are thousands of residents of Gaza who are dying, and this is not acceptable. It's not acceptable anywhere. Protecting civilians is our responsibility. It's a responsibility of all. Now, humanitarian assistance also has to be delivered. And that brings me to my question. A maritime corridor has been opened along with the United States and allies such as the UK. And it was proposed that there be this maritime corridor. But one of the questions is that the UN has stated, and you confirmed this, that the best way to deliver this assistance is via road. However, we know that because of Netanyahu's actions, there has been an obstruction of this way of delivering assistance. So, do you not think that perhaps deciding on a maritime corridor where it's kind of overshadowing the importance of a road route or a land route? Well, I would say that the two aren't mutually exclusive. What I would say is that in all our exchanges, at all levels with the Israeli government, we never miss an opportunity to affirm that we all have a collective responsibility here, including the Israeli government. They have a responsibility to ensure minimum services, whether that be food or medical supplies. They have a responsibility to ensure that delivery. And that's why we've participated. We've contributed into these airdrops to the maritime corridor, because there is this extraordinary need on the part of the residents of Gaza. That said, I would say the best way, the most efficient way to get the best impact for cost is to deliver this humanitarian aid via truck on roads. There are many entry points into Gaza. Rafah is the one that is being mainly used, but there are at least 3 or 4 others. And we will continue to hammer this point home, whether it be with Israel or along with other partners at the highest levels. So I just want to be sure I understood. Pressure is being made on the Israeli government to open up these entry points. Thank you.
Go to Madame Normandin. You have 1.5 minutes.
Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much. I'd like to speak about permit exports for military equipment. We know that since October 7th, only non-lethal equipment has been granted permits, and we have learned that there has been a slowdown in the process of issuing permits. But I would like to know if any of those permits have been refused, and on what grounds were those export permits refused or denied. Unfortunately, I can't go into the details of every request for these permits. First of all, because there is a judicial review that is ongoing. So I do not want to interfere with that process, and for that reason I cannot go into the details of this. But you are right in saying that since the 8th of January, no permits have been issued.
We now go to Mr. McGregor. You have 1.5 minutes as well.
I appreciate that, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Mr. Levesque, the President of the United States has publicly referred to the intolerable levels of extremist settler violence, forced displacement of people in villages, and property destruction in the West Bank. Our own Minister of Foreign Affairs has announced that she would like to follow the United States example in sanctions. Can you please update this committee on whether those sanctions are going ahead and what criteria and methods of investigation the government is using to identify extremist settlers and the violence that are being perpetrated on Palestinians in the West Bank?
Thank you. Again, without wanting to preempt decisions that the government might take, I can say that sanctions on extremist settlers is under active consideration, and it is an option that is being pursued at this time. As you probably know, our sanctions regime demands that we use open source information in order to identify which individuals or entities to list under our sanctions regime, something that we have pursued in this case. I should note that a number of extremist settlers have actually been found guilty of such aggressions by the Israeli government itself. So at the very least, there is a base of information there that we can use, in addition to wider sources that remain open source. Having been in the West Bank just a few days ago and been surrounded by those illegal settlements, I would say that there's enough body of evidence to be able to link the most extreme members in a relatively easy way.
Thank you very much. That concludes our questions at this point. I'd like to thank Mr. Levesque, Mr. O'May, and Mr. Beaulieu. Very, very grateful for your time and your expertise and perspectives. We will now adjourn the meeting for a few minutes. Suspend the meeting for a few minutes, and then come back for in-camera committee business for approximately 15 minutes. Thank you.